Amarachi Ibe completes the report.
This is Imo State Independent Electoral Commission, ISEC, in Owerri, capital of the state. The Commission's office is filled to the brim as politicians and well-wishers come in their numbers to witness the collection of certificates of return by the elected 27 local government chairmen across the state.
The Commission will formally hand over certificates of return to the council chairman. And what has just happened in Imo State is a concrete demonstration of the will and determination of the people.
Some of the elected chairmen expressed joy.
What are the expectations from the
more work, more responsibility, more commitment, and most importantly, to prove and justify the confidence people will be.
Political analyst says the occasion is in line with relevant provisions of the law. Recall that Saturday's election witnessed the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC) sweeping the local government areas election by winning the 27 local government areas across the state. Amarachi Ibe, Global TV News.
The Nigerian Senate has suspended plenary in honor of the late Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, who passed away during the annual recess of the National Assembly. The Red Chamber resumed its plenary session on Tuesday following the annual recess that began in late July. Queen Agaba has the rest of the details.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, read several correspondences from President Bola Tinubu. The communications included a supplementary appropriation bill for the Federal Capital Territory Administration, the nomination of Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun for confirmation as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and a request for the confirmation of commissioners for the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission.
To forward for confirmation by the Senate the appointment of 21 underlisted nominees as commissioners to fill the existing vacancies of their respective states in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission.
After the formalities, the lawmakers paid tribute to the late Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, CON, by observing a moment of silence.
To rise, observe a minute silence in honor of distinguished Senator Ifeanyi Ubah.
Senator Ubah, who passed away in late July 2024 at 52, represented the Anambra South Senatorial District and chaired the Senate Committee on Petroleum Resources. Following the tribute, the plenary session was adjourned to honor the late senator's legacy.
We therefore extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, his constituents, Anambra State, and indeed our dear nation. At the appropriate time, we'll do justice to his legacies.
The adjournment by the Red Chamber is in line with the tradition of the National Assembly to suspend the first sitting after the death of a federal lawmaker. For Global Television, Queen Agaba reporting.
Meanwhile, in a move designed to strengthen the country's national value system following decline in the values, the Federal Executive Council has approved the establishment of a Citizens Value Brigade for primary, secondary schools across the country. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris stated this while addressing correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Sharon Ajay tells us more.
Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris says the government is worried about the observed decline in value system, hoping that it can be altered for the sake of sustainable development. He further says there is an improvement of inclusion of national value charter and national symbols to be made mandatory not just in the curriculum but in the teaching of civil education.
Model citizens among Nigerians. We have noted, Council has noted the gradual erosion of our values, especially among the younger ones, and this is giving rise to the kind of misbehavior and attitude that we see that is out of tune with our tradition and our norms and our upbringing. So Council has noted that there is the need for strengthening and going back to these core values that Nigeria is known for over time, for which we know that there has been some kind of decline.
The Federal Executive Council also approved the construction of 40 houses for judges and justices in the Federal Capital Territory. Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, announced this during the media briefing, saying that the 40 residents will be constructed in the Katampe district, with 20 allocated to the FCT High Court, 10 to the Federal High Court, and 10 to the Court of Appeal. He says the project is slated for completion within 15 months.
The importance, Mr. President, attaches to the judiciary. Mr. Frame finds it very difficult how judges and justices will be living in rented houses and hotel apartments. That is not safe for judiciary. That is not convenient for them to do their work. And so Mr. President directed that the FCT, through the FCDA, should immediately construct 40 number judges and justices quarters at Katampe district. Now what it means is that out of these 40, FCT High Court, which is like the FCT Court, will have 20. The Federal High Court will have 10, and the Court of Appeal will have 10.
However, the council also approved several major road projects across the country, allocating billions of naira for construction. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, announced that the Abuja-Kano Road project, handled by Julius Berger, received approval of 740 billion naira. The project, initially valued at 155 billion naira, was revised to 797 billion naira by the previous administration and further increased to 1.5 trillion naira. Sharon Ajay reporting for Global TV News.
The Nigerian Army has refuted the allegation of sexual harassment by ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye against Colonel Ibrahim Abdulkarim and other personnel of the Army Medical Corps, Lagos. The rebuttal was made by the Director of Army Public Relations, Major General Oyema Nwachukwu, while addressing journalists in Abuja. Kike Lomo Okere has the details.
It could be recalled that earlier this year, a female army personnel, Ogunleye Ruth, cried out for help over alleged sexual abuse by her superior officer through her social media platforms. The Director, Army Public Relations, Oyema Nwachukwu, reveals that the Army took every accusation leveled against its personnel seriously and established procedure to investigate claims made against its personnel to ensure a fair and impartial process. He stated that the findings were definitive and based on objective evaluation of the available information. The investigation concluded that Colonel Abdulkarim did not commit the offense of sexual harassment as alleged by ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye.
It is crucial to assert that the Nigerian Army, in its bid to ensure justice and transparency, conducted an exhaustive review of the facts, testimonies, and evidence presented. The investigation concluded that Colonel I.B. Abdulkarim did not commit the offense of sexual harassment as alleged by ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye. The findings were definitive and based on objective evaluation.
Nwachukwu disclosed that ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye had been recommended for discharge on medical grounds since 2022, but the Nigerian Army, being sympathetic, thought it wise to give her the best medical treatment before discharging her into the wider society. He says her act of defamation is therefore due to her mental health issues, which was confirmed at the National Hospital in Abuja.
While the Army was addressing the allegations of sexual harassment, further concerns about Ruth Ogunleye's conduct came to light. Her behavior, both online and offline, raised questions about her worsening mental health and emotional stability. Consequently, The Nigerian Army referred ex-private Ruth Ogunleye for medical evaluation at the National Hospital in Abuja, following earlier assessments made by the Nigerian Army Medical Corps that suggested potential mental health concerns.
He stated that the Nigerian Army is a professional force committed to highest standards of discipline, integrity, and accountability. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Justice Binta Iyako of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has rescued herself from the trial of the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, of the allegation of the bias leveled against her by the accused person. The decision of the judge was to rescue herself from the trial following Kanu's open outburst against his counsel, and the judge, Uyi Agbomofuegbe, has the details.
It says all these things are...
Nnamdi Kanu, who spoke from the dock at the resumed proceeding, directly told Justice Yanko that he no longer had confidence in the handling of his trial, while his lawyer, Aloy Jemako, was trying to persuade the court to suspend the trial on the basis that his client was denied the opportunity to prepare his defense. Kanu got up from his seat and ordered him to sit down.
Then we need to try another court. The Constitution is very clear on this. Section 36 made it very clear that he deserves, as of right, the adequate facility to prepare for his defense. And who prepares him for his defense? His defense counsel. But we're not being given the opportunity. The court did make some order, and the consequences of that order would have resulted in getting him adequately prepared. But most of those orders were disobeyed in their material particulars. For instance, we were not provided a clean room where no one will have listening devices to listen to our conversations. And our documents, legal documents we take to the DSS facility, detention facility, are interdicted. And
following the People's Democratic Party's rejection of the result of the Edo governorship poll on Saturday, the All Progressive Congress warned the opposition party to reconsider its decision to contest the outcome of Saturday's governorship election, saying it would be a sheer waste of time and resources. Senator Monday Okpebholo, the governorship candidate of the All Progressive Congress, was declared the winner of the tightly contested election on Sunday. The returning officer for the election and the Vice-Chancellor of the Federal University of Technology, MENA, Professor Farouk Adamu Kuta, announced the result at the INEC Coalition Center in Benin City, the Edo State capital. You're watching Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. When Midday News returns, China pledged security support for Iran. Details of these and more after this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is Global Television, bringing you live broadcasts of midday news. Thank you for staying with us. On our business desk, the Federal Executive Council has approved the establishment of a disaster management fund. This was disclosed to journalists by Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, at the State House, Abuja, after the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Bola Tinubu. Kike Lomo Okere has more.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, says, in this era of climate change, no matter the prevention measures in place, disaster will still occur. He emphasized the importance of pooling funds from various sectors and being prepared when disasters strike.
We need to build greater resilience in the form of a substantial disaster relief fund, separate from the agencies that actually intervene physically. This will focus on the financing and bringing together the funding from across the spectrum, the federal, the subnational levels.
Edun also reveals that the Council passed the Economic Stabilization Bill, which is largely based on the recommendation of the Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee.
The Companies Income Tax Act, there's also a proposal to amend that, basically to allow Nigerians with the skills, the expertise, and the relevant relationships to be able to stay in Nigeria and provide services to foreign companies abroad without those companies having to come and register in Nigeria, thereby opening up a whole vista of employment opportunities, income opportunities, and entrepreneurship opportunities.
He further explained that the bill is aimed at implementing the committee recommendations, including proposed amendment to the company's income tax. Kike Lomo Okere.
The federal government may spend about 236 billion naira monthly to subsidize the premium motor spirit popularly called petrol. That is imported through the Nigerian National Petroleum Company and the one that is solely offtaken by NNPC from the Dangote Petroleum Refinery. The President and Chief Executive of Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, called on the federal government to end fuel subsidies completely. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria has urged the federal government to increase its shares in the Dangote Petroleum Refinery from the current 7% to at least 45% to enable assurance and energy security. It said this would ensure further energy assurance and security for the citizens. The value of foreign exchange turnover via the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market increased to 15.74 trillion naira, $9.90 billion in August 2024. This comes as the Central Bank of Nigeria revealed that foreign inflow into the country increased to $585 million in the same month. Also at the official market, the value of the naira dropped to 1,658 against United States dollars from the 1,659 it sold on Monday, while black market sellers sold at the rate of 1,670 naira. The Federal Executive Council has approved the Economic Stabilization Bill. These bills, driven by the recommendations from the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, chaired by Taiwo Oyedele, marked a critical step in the government's accelerated stability and advancement plan. On our foreign scene now, China's top diplomat Wang Yi pledged to support Iran in safeguarding its security against external forces in a meeting with the country's new president in New York, Beijing's foreign ministry. Wang met President Masoud Pezeshkian on the sidelines of the annual UN General Assembly. Beijing said, as Israel launched more strikes against Tehran's ally Hezbollah in Lebanon, the top diplomat promised China would always be a trustworthy partner. Still on China, it says it has successfully launched an intercontinental ballistic missile carrying a dummy warhead into the Pacific Ocean. Defense Ministry said the ICBM was launched today and fell into expected sea areas, adding that the test launch was routine and part of its annual training. The type of missile and its flight path remained unclear, but Chinese state media said Beijing had informed the countries concerned in advance. The recent waves of abductions, arrests, and the brutal killing of an opposition official in Tanzania seems to be dimming the ray of political hope that came with President Samia Suluhu Hassan, raised to power in 2024. In a span of weeks, two of the most senior opposition leaders have been arrested twice, and another opposition official, Ali Kibor, has been abducted, killed, and his body doused in acid by unknown assailants. According to John Magufuli, concern is growing that Tanzania is sliding back to the era of her autocratic predecessor. In sports, in a heuristic match at the Giwas Stadium, Cres Fongage's Como triumphed over Atlanta 3-2, marking their first Serie A victory over 2 decades. The game showcased Como's resilience and attacking powers, with 3 goals scored in a thrilling 12-minute span that turned the tide against the formidable Atalanta side. Enzo Zidane, son of football legend Zinedine Zidane, has officially retired from professional football at the age of 29. According to reports from the Diario AS, Enzo, who last played for Fuenlabrada in Spain's 3rd tier, has decided to step away from the game to focus on personal matters, including his family and investments. And that's it on Midday News, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Remember, we are on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276 and free to air on ICOMSAT. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms by using the Global TV NG and the handles now showing on your screen. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Good afternoon.